I kind of feel like talking about prospects today. So, we'll probably go out there and make this video about a prospect. Maybe the next one is going to be about a prospect too. There's a guy I want to talk about for the Red Wings faithful out there. But today's video is going over somebody on the Rangers. And when it comes to what exactly this team has done in the past year and a bit, it's absolutely incredible seeing how the New York Rangers have gone out there and performed. You take a look at the #1 goal scorer in the NHL, Chris freaking Kreider. Who expected this? The guy's out there with a 30-plus goal season, and we're just at the halfway mark of the year. It's the All-Star break. Kreider is the #1 guy in the league in goals. Take a look at Draisaitl, take a look at Ovi, take a look at McDavid. Nah, fam, it's Kreider out here. You take a look at how well this team is doing on the score sheet. They are pretty much locked into the playoff race. Everybody kind of knows that the East and the entire playoff picture there is solidified already. So, New York, hey, you're in it pretty much. As long as you don't go on a big losing streak towards the end of the year, you're probably going to go out there and make it. Igor Shesterkin is doing his thing. Adam Fox is going out there doing his thing. Panarin, Zibanejad, you have yourselves the young guys. Lafreniere and Kakko are doing better than people thought they would have, so it's pretty good in New York right now. But when you go over to the prospect side of things, what if I told you that the 2021 NHL Entry Draft had itself a really big bet that the Rangers made that is paying off tenfold right now? Let's go over the very first draft pick that new Rangers GM Chris Drury ended up making under this new regime, and it starts in the first round, 16th overall. Now, the Rangers in this position had themselves a boatload of guys to choose from, mostly because the 2021 draft went in a very strange fashion, especially towards the beginning picks over here. You had guys like Tyler Boucher going a lot higher. You had guys like Isaac Rozan going a lot higher than people thought they would. And as a result, at 16, the Rangers had guys to choose from that a lot of people thought could have been earlier picks. Chaz Lucius was a guy that was available from the NTDP. You had the goaltender Jesper Wallstedt. You had Fabian Lysell. There were a few guys out here that probably could have gone a lot earlier that were available to New York. And they ended up selecting a guy that a lot of people were sort of surprised about. With their 16th overall pick, the New York Rangers selected from the Flint Firebirds of the OHL, as well as EHC Olten in the Swiss League, Brennan Othmann. Now, Othmann, to his credit, was not the biggest reach in the world. You take a look at where he was ranked to go. TSN and Bob McKenzie had him at 16. Craig Button had him at 17. ISS had him at 18. So that's directly in the range where he did go, which was 16th to the Rangers. However, McKeen's and Future Considerations both had him at 22nd overall, which was a bit lower. Brennan Othmann, to me, was always a guy that I was kind of having on my radar because he was part of that Don Mills Flyers U16 AAA team in the Greater Toronto Hockey League back when Shane Wright and Brandt Clarke were over there doing their thing and absolutely torching the Ontario scene. Afterwards, though, Brennan Othmann made his way over to the Flint Firebirds and eventually played his draft year in the Swiss League, where he was a pretty notable player. He was also really great at the U18s, where he went out there and scored some very good goals. But when I talk about the Rangers and goal scoring, you want to talk about Chris Kreider and him being an absolute stud in terms of NHL goal scoring? Hey, guess what? Brennan Othmann is going out there doing his own thing when it comes to OHL goal scoring. In his draft season, he was a pretty okay player with 16 points in 34 games played in the Pro Men's League in Switzerland. Okay, that's cool, but with Brennan Othmann going back over to the OHL and playing against peers in his own age group, take a look at the production he has had this year. In 37 games played, Brennan Othmann has gone out there with 30 goals, 26 assists, and 56 total points. He has more points this year than he had games played 2 years ago. And you take a look at the point production he had 2 years ago, 33 points in 55 games played as a rookie in the OHL. He almost has as many goals as he had points 2 years ago, and he's doing this in 18 fewer games played. He is the captain of the Firebirds, and believe me, the Firebirds have not been the best team in the OHL the past few years. They've had some very bad growing pains over the years, and it's been pretty difficult to watch. But just seeing Brennan Othmann going out there and doing his thing, carrying this Firebirds team in the ways that he has, hey, you take a look at where they are in the standings, and they're second in the West Division right now. Very great to see for Flint, especially because of the lack of success they have had over the past few years. But you also take a look at the OHL as a whole, and Brennan Othmann is the #1 goal scorer in this league. Now, in terms of points, he is out there 6th. He is behind Matvei Petrov, Lucas Edmonds, Wyatt Johnson, Brandon Coe, and Rory Cairns, but when it comes to that goal-scoring touch, hey, he is indeed the #1 guy. And when it comes to players that are below him, James Hardy has 29 goals in 40 games. Ty Cartier has it in 39. Cairns has 26 goals in 40 games. Coe 26 in 41. The only player that's actually out here challenging Brennan Othmann for the best goal scorer in the league title is Luke Evangelista. He is a London Knights guy, Nashville Predators prospect. He's got 26 goals in 28 games. So yeah, games played is severely in Evangelista's favor, but Othmann still is out there with the lead. And so when you take a look at this bet and how it really is paying off for the Rangers, what they have here is a guy in Othmann who has absolutely come into his own when it comes to sniping pucks and being just an absolute bulldog. We made a Why I Want video talking about Brennan Othmann and the entire profile he exhibits, so you can go ahead and watch that video if you want to go ahead and get a bigger look at this player. But we kind of focused mostly on his performance in Switzerland because, of course, you know, he was drafted out of the Swiss League, technically. There was no OHL hockey last year, so we had to go off of how he was playing at international tournaments, the U18s, as well as his EHC Olten stint in the Pro Swiss League. But now, seeing him play against other kids his age in a Canadian hockey league once again, it's been an absolute treat, and I think a lot of people, myself included, are super surprised to see the goal-scoring touch really show itself off in more ways than one, and to a greater extent than we believed was possible when he was drafted last year in the 2021 draft. And so now he's really playing like that first-round, 16th overall caliber guy, and if he goes out there and really proceeds with that goal scoring and he consistently is able to get more and more goals, the sky is really the limit here when it comes to Brennan Othmann and his shooting ability, his shot on the rush, his ability to pick off corners, his really fancy way to score once in a while. If you watched the U18s last year, you would have remembered that this guy had some very nice snipes at some very key opportune times. And because of how he's been performing so far in the OHL, I wouldn't be surprised if he went out there and actually made the World Junior team. Because earlier on, in January, he didn't make the initial Team Canada, and that was seen as a shock to a lot of people. But when the World Juniors comes back in, August or whatever it is, you have yourselves the ability to actually change the rosters. You don't have to go out there and lock in the same guys that you had in January. And so with a brand new World Junior selection process going to be underway, it's going to be awesome to see other guys go out there like Brennan Othmann maybe get themselves a chance at cracking the team when they initially didn't. And it's not a fault of his own as to why he didn't crack the team in the first place. A lot of people would go out there and say that Team Canada was very weird when they made their selections back in December, January, etc. But now there is a chance to go out there and correct that and get the top goal scorer in the OHL. New York Rangers prospect that a lot of people were sort of concerned with when they made the pick. I got a lot of comments in that Why I Want video back when the draft happened from Rangers fans saying, okay, we'll see how this pick goes. I'm not really too sure how it's going to work out here, but if there is indeed a lot to talk about and there are some good qualities to his game, we'll go out there and we'll believe in him. But hey, guess what? It's been roughly just less than a year since the draft, and this player has gone out there and really impressed in the best way possible. So, New York Rangers fans, you guys got Kreider in the NHL scoring goals like crazy. If you're an OHL fan, you guys got Brennan Othmann there scoring goals like crazy and giving you something to cheer about. So talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Brennan Othmann and his entire profile as a prospect? What do you think about his future? Where do you think he lines up in your roster? He is a left wing, so there is some concern there. I mean, you do have a few good left wingers on your team already. Where does Othmann slot in? Talk to me in the comments, your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.